Good afternoon, people of YouTube. Welcome back to the Maverick Baking Kitchen and welcome back to another recipe taste test video thing. Yeah. So you may remember recently on the channel that in my small Scottish kitchen, I recreated a slice of New York using the Momofuku milk bar recipe book. Basically, out of curiosity, we made their epic birthday cake. Today, we're going to go one step further and we're gonna make the crack pie. So the crack pie is kind of an institution in this very famous New York bakery. It's unlike anything else I've ever heard of or unlike anything else I've ever seen. I've never tasted it and New York is thousands of miles away, so I wanted to make it for myself. So that's what we're doing. Without further ado, I introduce you to the pie. So don't be alarmed, this might look like a scene from Scarface on top, but it's just sugar, I promise. As you can see, instead of regular kind of pastry, because this is an American style pie, they tend to favor biscuits or cookies to be used as the kind of crust of the pie rather than pastry, which is usually lower in effort. Not with this pie. So to make this kind of cookie crust, rather than just using shop-bought biscuits or cookies and blending it with butter to put it into the tin, I made the cookie. So the recipe required making your very own oatmeal cookie, a giant one, like a really giant one. Basically just a regular oatmeal cookie made huge. Let me show you how I made it. Hello, here is how I made the cookie. So here is some soft butter in a bowl, to which we're gonna add some caster sugar and some dark brown sugar. And yeah, and here is my electric whisk that is still broken. I still only have one, but you know what, it does the job. So we're gonna mix that for like 2 to 3 minutes until it's kind of fluffy and stuff, and then you're going to throw in an egg yolk. And then I just kind of beat it up again for another couple of minutes till it was nice and fluffy. And then I threw in a whole load of bread flour and porridge oats. I'm not really sure why the recipe calls for bread flour, but it does. I don't know if it's to make to make the cookie chewier or what, I don't really know. But to that I also added some baking powder, bicarbonate of soda and a pinch of salt. And for some reason this clip is really long. Okay, here we are. So beating it up again, beat, just until everything's all combined. Then you're gonna look out a big old baking tray, or a roasting tin in my case, line it with some greaseproof paper, throw in your cookie dough, and then you're going to try miserably, as I did, to flatten it with a spoon. But yeah, it didn't really work because it was kind of too sticky and I'm really impatient. So I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous, it's not working, so let's get our hands in there as well. So that's what I did. So just flatten all of the dough out, basically into one giant cookie thing. And yeah, there it is. It was like 1/2 centimeter thick. And then you're gonna take it and you're gonna bake it for like 15 minutes. So there was nothing too kind of Maverick Baking style about that cookie, but the filling, I got a bit creative, let's be honest. So the problem with a lot of milk bars recipes is that because they're tailored to the American market, a lot of ingredients can be really hard to find in Scotland. For example, the crack pie filling requires ingredients such as milk powder and freeze-dried sweet corn powder. Now, I'll be very impressed if you can tell me where the hell I'm supposed to find these things, because I looked everywhere. I looked in supermarkets, I looked in bargain shops, I looked online, and though I could find stuff online, we were talking like £5 for the actual package of ingredient and another 10 for shipping. No, it's not happening. So we improvised. This is the crack pie Maverick Baking style after all. Instead of milk powder, I used some extra double cream, and instead of the sweet corn powder, I used pulverized cornflakes because it's the closest thing I could think of. So as you can see, the filling did set and I think it's turned out fine. Let me show you how I made it. Okay, so we used a freestanding mixer for this just because the book insisted I did. So we have some white and brown sugar in the bowl along with those pulverized cornflakes I spoke about a bit earlier. And then I threw in some melted butter and then just kind of turned the mixture onto a fairly low speed just to get this all kind of combined. Looks pretty weird at this point, not gonna lie. Yeah, doesn't look the most appetizing. Then I threw in some vanilla and also used some double cream. You could probably also use whipping cream, but double cream is what I had. And then I just turned the mixer on again on low just to get everything all combined. Again, looks pretty weird. And to that I threw in 4 egg yolks and just with another little mix, and that's basically all there is to the crack pie filling. By this point, the giant oatmeal cookie had cooled down a little bit, so it was time to turn the cookie into a pie crust and the pie crust into a full pie. Let's see how we did it. Hello and welcome back to another awkward voiceover. So this is the ginormous, ridiculous, ugly result of the giant cookie. So I put this in my food processor and blitzed it until it was just a crumbly, sandy, crumble. And to that I added some more melted butter. This recipe uses a lot of butter. And then basically just used a spoon just to coat all of the cookie crumbs in that to make it into a nice kind of thing, which I used to line this tart case or pie case, filled it with the crack pie filling, and then just baked it in the oven. So I did have to give my pie an extra 5 minutes in the oven. The recipe had a weird kind of baking method where you baked it at one temperature for 15 minutes, opened the oven door for 5 minutes, and then at a lower temperature for another 5 minutes. Mine was still very wobbly in the center by this point. It could be the fact that I didn't really follow all of the ingredients properly, but I had to give it an extra 5 minutes, and after those 5 minutes it did set with just a little wobble in the center, which is what the recipe said we should have. So after all of that I let it cool, and then I refrigerated it overnight so that the filling could be nice and set up. The book tells me to enjoy the pie cold, so that's what we're gonna do. I have my big knife. I have no idea if this is gonna slice properly. I have no idea if I've made it right. You're gonna find out. Filling is weirdly soft. I don't know if it's gonna be kind of like a blondie or if it's gonna be just a weird kind of set buttery custard. I have no idea what to expect. So in the book, it's compared to an American recipe known as the gooey butter cake. Now, it looks pretty gooey and pretty buttery and pretty delicious. I'll give you a kind of close-up if I can. So as you can see, we do have the cookie crust, which I think will have softened a little bit. And we have a kind of crisp, almost separated flaky top with the icing sugar, and then a kind of soft gooey filling. Even if this isn't totally right texture-wise, I'm excited to try it. So the goal, basically, if this is crack pie, is that it should be addictively good. Look how gooey and gorgeous this looks. It's just, oh. Let's try the Momofuku milk bar crack pie. I completely understand the hype. Let me just show you again the texture here. We have a gorgeous kind of flaky crust on top, but the filling is very much, if you've had a blondie before, very much like a blondie, very buttery, very sweet, kind of gorgeous, almost spiced brown sugar kind of taste. It's actually not as overwhelmingly sweet as I expected. Wow. If you put some white chocolate chips in there, or some pecans, or some peanut butter, that would be like literally illegally delicious. I fully understand how this could be as addictive as crack. If my Maverick Baking version tastes as good, I can only imagine how good the original tastes. If you want to make your very own milk bar crack pie, and I'll admit it's very fiddly, it did take a long time and then required another 3 hours in the fridge to set at least. But that flavor, that texture, that just addictive gooiness, it's so worth trying. Like, it is so worth trying. I will leave my version of the milk bar crack pie recipe in a link in the description box below. You'll find it in maverickbaking.com, my blog, where I will be sharing the hell out of this recipe because it is obscene. It's obscene, but it's beautiful. Like I said, a link to the exact recipe I used will be in the description box below if you want to try this by yourself. If you've ever tried anything from Milk Bar, or even your own recipes from it, let me know in the comments below. I need to know which of these recipes is worth trying, because everything I've made so far has been absolute gold. Absolute gold. If you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see me try more kind of famous bakery recipes, for example, in past I've done Milk Bar recipes, and I even recently did a Levain Bakery chocolate chip cookie, which you need to see. They were ridiculous. If you'd like to see me do more of these kind of recipes, hit the thumbs up button and let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have time for today. So if you don't mind, I really need to be alone with this pie now. See you next time.